alongside growing in my life. So when some people haven't had any kind of experiences, whether it be until they got psychedelics, I was having experiences prior to psychedelics.
Yeah, that's interesting, man. That's interesting because that almost suggests either some sort of like what do you call it? Like either some sort of like built-in premonitions or not premonitions, but some
I would say premonitions,
okay,
yeah.
okay, that's the
I
right
would
word.
definitely say premonitions because I mean, what's going on in the world right now? I've had premonitions of a long time ago,
Okay,
and it's weird that it's like validation now for me. You
yeah,
know,
yeah. So like you can say that it wasn't the effects of LSD, which those of us that have had similar experiences, it's like you don't know if they were induced with it by the drugs or the psychedelics, or if they just brought it out. It's hard to say.
yeah. Well, they weren't induced by psychedelics. I'm sure they were enhanced by them. You know,
For sure.
I mean, I don't think I have a psychosis. I have moments where I need to isolate because I feel too much around me. You know, but I mean, the more I'm coming to grips with like the experiences that I've had. I'm starting to realize that they're separate. I have some issues, and they're manageable. I'm pretty. I think I'm a pretty high functioning like manic. Like I don't go psychotic. I don't stay up for days. I occasionally I'm 1 to 100, but I mean it's been manageable. I mean through meditation and like having people around me like yourself, like being my friend, and other people in my life who are understanding and just listen to me and don't criticize me. I mean, and then we have a mutual friend, Mike, in San Diego, tattoo artist, right? But he's always shown me a perspective at times where I haven't been able to see it, and sometimes we agree. But he's also helped me with the critical aspect of certain things and looking at things in a certain way. For a long time, I think, despite you know, the things I was experiencing, I think spiritually I was naive for a while. I kind of just took it at face value instead of like some of them are legit experiences. In my opinion, some of them are like up for translation.
Well, the fact that you're aware of these things, right? The fact that you're aware and you're questioning yourself and you're comparing the
Yeah,
scenarios pretty much leans that you're not schizophrenic because and you don't have a
well,
psychosis in the sense because most people who are and I'm going to use the term loosely crazy don't know
yeah,
they're crazy, right?
yeah.
So
No, I admit it. I admit it. I'm crazy. It's cool. I'm nuts and proud. It's all right. There's parts of me that are, but I think they could. I'm starting to realize that they can be beneficial in a good way. Like mania can help with like moments of genius and creativity.
well, sure. I mean, crazy. I
You
mean,
know,
there's different levels of crazy too, right? I mean, to be more sensitive or aware, or to your surroundings doesn't necessarily make you crazy, but other people might
yeah.
perceive you as being crazy.
I thought I was though for the longest time. I couldn't tell you. Like I would question my insanity for a long time. Like what I was going through, and it basically shaped my spirituality. That it is today. But I mean, like others, like I went through different spirituality searching. I didn't start off a pagan. I started off a Baptist. And then I started having experiences with spirits and like aliens and weird shit, and that was contrary to the Christian teachings, which led me into looking towards other paths, and trying to find my own identity. I think the first thing that I started, getting into the Satanic Bible was the first one of the first ones I read. But oh yeah, I got my own, I got some wine too. I'm going all I'm going all goth tonight with the Apothic Dark.
Oh, right on, man. Sorry, I didn't
Yeah,
mean to interrupt.
I stopped drinking hard eight a long time ago. I just drink wine now. It affects me in a different level now.
Absolutely, gives you a different type of buzz. Yeah, that's cool, man. I like that. I like what you're drinking. I've had that before too.
Yeah, it's a nice wine. You know,
What
uh,
what's your experiences on your with the aliens again? Was it like I remember you talking to me about it a couple of years ago, like with the premonitions, not premonitions, sleep paralysis, right? Did you say you had sleep
I don't think it
paralysis?
was sleep paralysis, although it was real similar. I mean, you could say it was sleep paralysis, but these things were very rather random. I
Oh,
mean,
okay.
In my opinion, coming from my perspective, sleep paralysis is just uh, it's not I mean, it's the clinical term for it, but it's a person who hasn't decided to leave their body yet astrally.
Okay.
Astral projection. I think that like what people would consider magic are probably innate abilities that we all have, but we use magic or symbolism or psychodrama basically to activate the subconscious.
Or
You know what I'm saying?
maybe they're getting kind of stuck, like they're about to astral project and they become
That's what I'm saying.
Okay,
Yeah,
they get kind of
my wife
stuck.
just had the experience the other night where she was halfway out of her body, but she got scared, but she couldn't move, and then eventually she was able to wake up and go back into her body. But most people that I talk to, if you look up, I mean, I guess there's a step to step leaving your body astrally. They have very similar experiences. Is that lucid dreaming? I don't know. I don't know. But or is it sleep paralysis? I don't know. I think sleep paralysis comes to term when it becomes scary, and there's elements that may come in. Maybe you're seeing shit from another dimension, or maybe you're just seeing stuff that's projected from your subconscious into like the lucid dream where your dreams are coming into the reality, right? But in my experiences, like they've kind of been like a guidance. Like if it was a dream, it would be, you have dreams that have been at times rather random and don't make sense, or there's a psychological aspect to it, where things represent certain things, right? Like subconsciously during the day you pick up on stuff, and then in your dream, you'll pick up on stuff that takes in the images of different things, right? Well, in some of the experiences I've had in dream, I mean, I swear to God, I've gotten into contact or things trying to contact me. Okay, and then it's been all types of different things. From what I would call like God forms, or people would call them archetypes of gods, right? Or spirits, or even darker entities, aliens. Yeah, mine's been with grays. I've never seen a reptile, or any other kind of alien. The ones that I saw that came to me were grays, and I'm not even sure if that was real, or if. I mean, I feel like it was real because I've had multiple experiences by that. I'm kind of a paranormal magnet, and other people have seen UFOs around me. If you hang out with me for a certain period of time, like people will start to encounter strange things. Yeah, I'm just kind of like that.
We should eat a bunch of shrooms and go fucking have a camp out in the desert for like 3 days. That
Oh,
would be
dude,
cool.
I'd love to, man. Or you can come up here to Spokane, hang out with me, and
For sure.
hang out in the woods, go by the rivers, see what it's like up here.
Oh man, I love that area of Washington, man. Yeah,
Different energy up here, man. In
for sure it
fact, since
is.
I've moved
Absolutely.
up here, my experiences have been shared now with friends, and a lot more, and my wife, for instance. I've had multiple experiences where I've shared uh, two actually three actually with my wife,
Wow.
but two up here.
Yeah, I mean, I remember that the Northwest, especially, I know Spokane's not really this Puget Sound area, but like I know this Puget Sound area is a magnet for UFOs.
Oh yeah, Bigfoot up here is a big thing.
Oh
In
shit.
fact, I saw something weird up here.
Yeah.
You want to hear that
You
story?
sure it wasn't a big hippie? No.
Huh. No, I'm
No,
just,
I want
I
to
don't
hear.
even know if it was a Bigfoot, but what I got from whatever I saw felt like a forest
Yeah.
spirit or
Yeah.
something.
What
That's
is
the
it?
only
Oh,
way I
yeah,
can
that's
say
right.
it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. You did tell me, but yeah, tell me again, man.
All right.
I
When
remember
we
that.
first moved up here, I was about February 4th of 2017, and we heard like what was like walking on our deck, and I mean it was like footsteps walking on our deck. Like I have a deck right out here, like I'm a sliding door in my backyard. It's all wood deck, and when you walk on it, it creaks like someone's walking on it, right? And it sounded like footsteps walking on my deck. And then we'd hear it on the roof. And then a month went by, starting to get into March, I would say, because we had a real bad snow up here. And then springtime rolled around. And we would hear a knocking at the door, like real quick, knocking at the door. Open the door, nothing's there. Okay, and then one day I heard a knocking at the door, and my wife Silva, she went to the room to go, get ready, get her makeup on, do her thing, and she's like, go ahead and answer the door as the dogs are going crazy. And I open the door and I look, and at the moment there was like nothing there, but it was like my eyes were trying to focus for a second on my neighborhood, right? And we have this like road tie planter like front yard that's been kind of built up, and I have a driveway, and then basically right onto the street. And as I'm looking outside, I see what looks like this shadowy figure, like running from the side of my street, like right by where my driveway ends, and it ran across to my neighbor's house, and like all of our houses are kind of like sideways, right? And there's a doorway on each side. They're different kinds of houses, but they're similar. Basically. Well, you have steps that go up to the front house and to the front door, and I'm sorry if it doesn't sound coherent. Whine. But anyway, as I was seeing this figure, like it was weird. It was like made out of shadow. Like it was black, pitch black. And it was running really like just kind of clumsy. Like it was weird. I mean, cause it's hard to explain, cause it was like, as it was running, and this thing was big, this was like 7 feet tall, like big. And it was almost like it was out of like vibrating on a different level. Like I couldn't get definition to the thing, right? Other than it was big and black, had massive shoulders. It ran from the side of the street up to the side of my neighbor's walkway going up to, they have a walkway that's kind of covered by the garage. It like hid around the corner, and then it peeked its head out and looked at me. And as I looked at it, I was like, what the fuck? I couldn't tell its definition. I couldn't tell facial features. I couldn't tell. Another thing that was weird too is it was running, it looked 2-dimensional, and as it turned, it seemed to go into 3-dimensional. So it seemed flat, like
okay,
like it was really odd. And
but when it turned its body, it somehow like became like 3-dimensional. Yeah, it had like shape.
Yeah,
to
it turned. It went from flat 2-dimensional, like some sort of a silhouette type of thing, to a kind of a 3-dimensional
interesting
figure. And it peeked its head around and then stood right in front of me. And that's when I saw what it looked like. And it had really long arms. We're talking like shoulders, no neck. And its head looked like kind of like praying mantis, real diamond shaped. Like, I don't know what it was. At that point, I looked at it and I just went, nope. And I went back inside. I'm like, I've had enough.
Did it have any eyes? Did it have like eyes or a mouth?
I couldn't tell that it had eyes. I could not tell that it had eyes. I could. The only time that I could tell it had shape or definition is when it turned and faced me. At that point, it was still kind of an outline, all solid black, but you could see the light just kind of illuminating like its basic muscle structure and its head, but no definition in the stomach. Just really short legs, really long arms, massive like shoulders, like just like huge like thing. Like I don't know. The only thing I got from it, I mean, I got a vibe from it, which that it was like forest spirit.
Okay. So you got a vibe.
I don't know, like when you do DMT and like you encounter something on that side, right? And like you just know what it is.
Okay.
But you don't, like I don't know what it was.
It's weird. Man. So maybe like, yeah, I see what you're saying. So you didn't get the vibe that it was like an alien or a ghost. You got the vibe more of that it was something like Bigfootish. Like, do you think it was something that was like a
I don't know if it was a Bigfoot.
Yeah, well, I mean,
I don't know if it was a Bigfoot. I could not tell you it was a Bigfoot, but but after talking to like, Mike and my other friend Android Virus, like they were telling me, yeah, that's how that was a Bigfoot. I'm like, I don't, because I'm like, so real, like the joke where you see Keanu Reeves going, well, what if Bigfoot's blurry?
That's kind of funny. I never heard
Like
that.
they're like, yeah, that's they're out of frequency, like they're weird. There was a documentary recently that kind of talked on that about them being kind of out of frequency, and if anyone gets a chance to watch it, even if you don't believe in it, it's kind of fascinating. It's called The Missing 411, The Hunted.
Oh yeah, Mike was telling me about that actually. That does sound interesting.
And it talks about hunters who've been out in the woods, experienced hunters, some of them that have gone missing, and then others who've had experiences out in the woods with what looks like I don't know. You'd have to watch it and state your own opinion on that.
Cool, man. That is interesting.
Highly
man.
recommended it because it's like people are going missing in state parks, and the U.S. government wants doesn't even care about them being missing or starting a database. And David Paulides basically, for those who don't know who David Paulides is, he catalogs people that have been missing in state parks. So.
Huh. That's weird, man. Yeah, that doesn't sound like any Bigfoot thing that I've ever heard, though. And I've listened to a lot of stories about, encounters and sightings of Bigfoot. It doesn't sound the whole,
I
whole
didn't
2
think
to
it
3.
was.
But the whole facial
I always
thing.
thought of him as a big ass monkey. That's what everybody else talks about him as, being a primate of some kind, right? So for me, like, I don't know if it was, but it was a weird thing I saw.
Yeah. No, that is strange.
My wife heard the knocking too. So I mean,
well, you said your dogs did too, right? You said your dogs.
Yeah, the dogs heard the knocking too.
Yeah, I definitely trust the dogs over us because dogs are pretty keen on that shit. If they were barking, then that means something was there, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
for sure. I mean,
Yeah, man. The only thing that I've ever saw, like you asked me earlier, about spiritual experiences, are the ones that I've said on YouTube. But I'll tell the evil Spider-Man one again, just because we're doing the exchange here.
Oh yeah, we'll go on the different stuff.
Sure, man. I mean,
please tell it.
The description doesn't quite sound like yours, but it was still something that I couldn't explain, and something that not just one person saw, but 3 others. So it kind of collaborates it. Now, granted, we were drinking, but we weren't like all drunk, so drunk that we all hallucinated the same thing at the same time. Yeah, I don't think I've ever been that drunk. But I
don't believe in mass hallucinations, man. I don't.
No, I don't either. That's what it am. It's just, I don't buy into that either. I mean, I believe that I've seen some things that may have been hallucinations for sure, but not everybody at the same time, right? That went on for at least 45 seconds, right? Yeah, I mean, basically we're just camping out in Tucson, and it was, I don't know, late 2000s, like 2008, maybe 2009. And we're just camping, and there's like out in the desert, kind of underdeveloped part. There's like landfill. There was like a new landfill. And it wasn't really built. I mean, it was kind of dug, but it was still, there wasn't a lot of trash in it. There was some trash, but I think it's people just throwing their own shit in there. Good camping ground. 'Cause you go and you could shoot guns and shit. And it was pretty far enough out there that nobody really cared. But it wasn't too far out where you had to have a fucking off-road truck and whatever. So yeah, we're out there, man, drinking around fire, and we would get up and take a piss and throw our beers over into this landfill, which is probably, I don't know, probably like 4 or 5 stories deep, and it maybe was about almost the size of a football field, like in a kind of a semi like squarish shape,
like 4 or 5 stories, kind of
like exactly, in a quarry. And there was a part where it looked like there was a ramp cut down where somebody could drive down there, but it was hard to say because it was at night. But I could tell there was one like construction not site, but like bulldozer type vehicle, like in the side, like they were just fucking like left it there or something, whatever. So I mean, it was definitely man-made, and man was fucking with it. They were doing something with it. So we were just there, and people were going. We were like throwing cans over, and somebody got up and threw a can, and then the dude was like, "Hey, check it out. What's this?" And he thought it was like a bear or a deer. So we all walked over there, and it was kind of hard to see, but it was like the moon was pretty bright. Now I don't know if you've ever been to the desert at night, but out there, the desert at night, it's beautiful, man. But if the moon, even a half moon, will light up the desert pretty well. It's
clear.
At least in Arizona, on a clear sky, it's really clear. Yeah, man. So our visibility was pretty good under the moonlight. And we started looking, and you could hear it too. Now, how far it was, I don't know. I'd maybe guess 20 to 30 yards. It's kind of hard for me to judge distance when from that angle. Plus it was a long time ago, but I'm guessing it was about 20 to 30 yards. It wasn't quite halfway across the other way. And it's to this on the side bank. And we hear the rocks falling. We looked and I saw this shape and it was moving. And it wasn't moving very fast, but it was moving in like diagonal motion. The weird part about this is we had gotten there before nightfall, and I remember the walls in the area that was being where we saw it were almost like exactly flat. Like you could grapple up it, but you would need equipment. Like nobody could climb that, at least not at that speed anyway. Maybe very very slowly if you're very skilled, but I don't think anybody would even bother. And a lot of it was loose dirt. There's no cement or anything like that. It was like cut with the machine. So it was kind of weird, and I'm thinking, oh, deer, bear, whatever, fox, some sort of desert critter, right? But the rocks are falling pretty loud, and so we had a spotlight in the truck. Dude ran out and he pulled the truck up, and I don't know why he didn't turn his headlights on, but he had the spotlight and he just put the spotlight out, boof. And as soon as we hit it, it stopped, and we looked, and I looked, and it wasn't a bear. It looked like it was a humanoid shape, except for that. It was taller, much taller. It's hard to say exactly again because of the distance and the perspective, but it was definitely bigger than a person. We're talking 7, 8, 9 feet is my guesstimate right in that area, or maybe even 8 to 10 feet. The weird thing about it was it's all black, is that its limbs, its arms and its legs were the same size as its torso. So it had extremely long, like, arms and legs, and and the torso was about the same height. Like it was disproportionate. It was like kind of like if you remember the first Nightmare on Elm Street when Freddy Krueger, like there's a scene where he walks down the alley and he extends his hands and he like drags his arms down, and his arms are like twice as long as real arms. It was kind of like that, but it was like kind of like weird. And and then it stopped, and then we got when we hit the light, and then it seemed like it didn't like the light on it, because as soon as the light touched it, it moved a few feet away, and we kept doing it. And then the thing would kind of like started moving fast, but it would go like in a zigzag, like diagonal, which nobody could do, and then straight down and then back diagonally. And it did that for a little bit, and we tried to get the light bound. We tried to slowly start to walk towards it like around, but we had a ways to go. And we just tried to keep the light on it. He unplugged the light from the truck, and we tried to go around it. And as we started to move, it got more agitated, and it went faster in the opposite direction. But I do remember one time he got it really good with the light. And when it turned its head, it had a head. I didn't see like a mouth per se, but I didn't see eyes either. But I saw the shape of the face, and the light hit it. It was like a snout, not big like a dog, but more like a cat, like a smaller snout. But it wasn't like a human face. And I don't know what it was, man. I don't know. I definitely know it wasn't a bear, and I never saw. I know it wasn't a wild animal. I mean, none that I've ever seen anymore. And all I heard was rocks falling, man. And then we got to the point.
It almost sounds like a skinwalker like sighting too. The Arizona in that area, like a lot of people swear that they see, stuff like that too. That's kind of like the the native southwestern Native American Bigfoot, werewolf kind of thing. But then it also there's other people that after there was a video that was posted taken from your clip when you first posted it when you first were describing what you had seen. I forget the YouTube channel. I think it's called Scary Mysteries or Creepy, something Beyond Creepy is what it's called. That's where they put you on. And there's other people who have seen this Spider-Man entity. It's not a big sighting, but what I find interesting is that there's sightings of other strange beings that resemble stuff from comic books too. There's been like a Hawkman sighting. There's been what if there's beings like that, or what if in some way if simulation reality is a real thing and this is all an illusion, right? What if in some way our belief creates the manifestation, but if it's an actual thing, then it's only showing you what it wants you to see. If it's an alien, right? Or if it's it's hard to say, because what, like my experience with what I saw, I don't know what the fuck it was. the same with you. You don't know what the best description you could say is it looks like Spider-Man.
Right. Yeah, it looked like an evil Venom, like Venom from Spider-Man. Yeah, but yeah, I don't know what it is. But that's all I could do to put it into words that could best
Yeah.
describe it. Right. And maybe if it was a sort of spirit entity, or even I guess you could call it aliens if it's not, if it's interdimensional, or if it's not from indigenous towards Earth. Maybe
Yeah.
maybe when you see it, it automatically shapeshifts into something that
It's familiar.
you're familiar to you, right? So it takes on the form
Yeah.
that you would recognize, but not necessarily a human form. Maybe, I don't know why it would pick certain things. It's hard to say, maybe it, like, who knows, right? Maybe
Well,
our
I believe
subconscious
that they're,
is,
my beliefs, I think they're here. Like, I think that, I mean, mostly in Southern California, I think I witnessed a lot of things that as I was starting to progress, I guess, with, realizing that I'm an empath and starting to see stuff. Cause this has been a progression, right? It was usually pretty random, but I would say around 2012, like that's when I started seeing more and more stuff. Okay. And I've seen things on people that are attached to them. In my belief, this is my theory and my belief, and I've seen things that want to be people or pretend to be people.
so you've seen things that are human, but you don't think they're human. Is that what you mean?
It's like they have some sort of. It's weird. It's like a distortion for a moment. It's like I can't explain it. It's almost like time stops for a second.
Do you remember
And
that?
I get a feeling inside me. It's like it feels like a tingle or spiders. I don't know, but it feels like like look over there. Something's over there.
But is it something pretending to be human? Like, is it?
I think so. I mean, I don't know.
I mean, is it
Like, I
somebody
don't.
walking the streets or somebody working at a place, and then you see them and you get a feeling, and then you look at them
Yeah,
harder, and then
yeah, pretty much.
you have the impression that they're not actually human, that they're imposters of some sort.
Yeah.
Oh wow,
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
that's
Yeah.
trippy.
Yeah, I have. It's. Yeah, I had one recently up here in Washington where I work. I saw it was for like it was like for a second the person that I saw I work at Walmart Lawn and Garden right now. That's what I do while I'm up here. It's out of necessity, not by choice, but that's where I work. And I saw this lady and she was kind of gross and fat, right? But I caught her with the side of my eye, but when I looked, like everything kind of stopped, and I'm telling you, she looked like a cartoon human, like cartoon of the version she was. And it was only for a brief moment, but then it just kind of went back, and then she just looked like large, a large woman, a large ugly woman.
Was she a large ugly cartoon too? Like, was it like
Yeah, I mean, like without, yeah, like we're talking like like if let's put it this way, it was if
it was like Cool World with Brad Pitt? Like, remember the?
not like an amoeba person, like round eyes without any lids, like
Oh wow, okay,
like yeah,
okay.
like no nose but two dots.
Oh okay. So it wasn't a cartoon human. It was a cartoon like. That's interesting, man.
But I haven't seen too many people like that up here. It was mostly in Southern California that I saw a lot of that.
Huh. That's where all the beautiful people live, by the way.
I guess so.
Right?
I guess so. I guess if you're an alien, you live in Las Vegas, you live in California. But what better place to blend in, right? Like if you're an alien, right, and you're whatever you have on you is to mask the world with. If it happens to go wrong, you happen to be standing next to other people who, it's like no big deal. Right? I mean, that's what that would be my theory and assumption.
Yeah, man. I mean, the alien things, man. Like, even as a teenager, like I believe that the extraterrestrials. I believe that we weren't the only life in the universe, but I was still skeptical as to UFOs, as to being actual, aliens, and I was still skeptical as if they had actually been here, because I thought, okay, if we could only make it here, I mean, remember, I was still a teenager. I mean, it just basically, I believe that we weren't the only life in the planet or in the universe, but I didn't think they were actually visiting us, and I didn't believe in conspiracy theories. until 1997 with the Phoenix Lights. That changed my perception on anything, because if that wasn't alien, then it's a technology that's so much more advanced than us. We're talking, I mean, it just meant that everything that we know, or that I believe that I knew, based on our laws of physics and based on my reality and what we're told, is completely false after seeing that. I mean,
well, whether you like it or not, it's been in the news, right? Like the government has been just came out and said that they were, they've been having a program for years now.
We have the government, studying UFOs, right? And they're keeping it to themselves and trying to hide it from the public. That means that they're finding something that they don't want us to start a mass panic or epidemic, or undermine the way society is built on. Our whole belief system is built on that we are the God's only creatures. If that's not true, then it really makes you question, who is God? Is our God not true?
It makes a good distraction, and it also makes a good TV show for sure. Because the guys from fucking To the Stars Academy definitely got a TV show based on it now. It's weird how this paradigm shift is happening within our lifetime. First we find out there's a soft disclosure about weird objects in the sky, right? And then we got this freaking coronavirus. That to me also makes me think about like a simulated reality, because like why does it have to be like 1920 we had a plague, 1820 plague, 1720 plague.
I wonder if it has to do with the presidential election coming up. Think about that. Maybe it's a distraction.
I wonder.
Maybe it's just a political. It's a distraction to keep people focused on, boogeymen that they call the coronavirus, instead of focusing on.
I think it is. I had a theory. Our buddy Mike and I, we both kind of came to the same conclusion that this may be a way to get rid of depopulation for one, to the debt. I mean, we have trillions of dollars in debt. You start a plague, like that's just for the United States, but there's other countries that owe us, that we've loaned money to too. It's a good cover, and then it just got out of hand.
So, I mean, do you think the coronavirus is intended to distract people from the debt, or do you think it's intended to kill people that were in debt too?
If China's 5% of the United States GDP, right, and then also part of this globalist bullshit that we're dealing with right now that has to deal with everything that's gonna get fucked up for this.
Well, how would it wipe our debt out with China though? If this virus ran rampant,
we help China, we help China. We ask them to relieve us of their debt.
I see what you're saying. So there's basically like, I get that part, but it would cost us a lot of money to help China, right? I mean, so we'd still be in debt, right? I mean, I see what you're saying. Maybe it only costs us pennies on the dollar though, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I mean, if the money isn't worth anything, really, I mean, it's just paper, right?
Yeah, I see what you're saying. Resources are probably worth more if people are dying.
Why not get rid of paper money altogether? If you say it's infected, then we have to go to credit, right?
That's another interesting theory, right? If they get somehow prove that the coronavirus, or any virus for that matter, is transmitted primarily through touch or whatever, money would be one of the culprits. Just be one more reason to eliminate money, but
yeah, there you go. And then start another theory was too that this might implement free healthcare for everybody too.
Yeah. Or these are all possibilities, right? I mean, they're all worth investigating. But there's also the real possibility.
It's early in the shit,
There's also the real possibility that it's just nature with an influenza virus that's now getting massive because of all the antibiotics we've been chewing through the last 100 years.
Oh, I did send you something through your. It's a you can watch it later, but basically there's a doctor that's saying that he has shown proof that it's engineered.
Yeah, you're saying that. That's interesting. That is interesting. But they said that about AIDS. They said that about pretty much any big outbreak. I mean, I'm not saying that it's not true, but there's always somebody to step forward, right, and say that they know or have evidence that it's been grown in a lab and whatever. Maybe it was.
It's all it's on the internet, so it must be. Fucking true,
right. I read it on Reddit.
Who knows? Who knows?
I mean, I don't know. I mean, I don't think it's such a bad thing. I mean, massive life of human life is never a good thing, but at the same time, if there is a overpopulated, it's weird that it started in China, which is one of the more overpopulated countries, right? But is it really? It's just the cities are overpopulated because China's
Yeah, I
huge,
mean, how much of this is propaganda? Like,
right?
how much is this to try to get people to get scared and fucking?
Stop, yeah, boycott China, right? Or stop, yeah, embargo
Well, I
China.
mean, we kind of needed to anyway. I mean, they were starting to take over our culture, which was really weird because not too long ago, just before this virus came out, remember we were finding out that I mean, slowly, I mean, we all kind of knew it was happening, right? But they were in control of their censors. Were people were trying to send movies and music. If it doesn't meet the Chinese censors, then if it's not making money, like look what's happened to our culture. It's kind of you have to kind of dig for good music, right? Like it's not in the mainstream as much anymore. Like they have control over that, and that's weird that they had control over that, and then this shit happens, and then
Yeah, it is. It is. I mean, it's hard to say. I mean, maybe it's just the most overpopulated cities are going to be the ones that get it first, and maybe it started on that continent.
God's
Right.
by the gods, let them save us.
Right. Right.
Oh,
Yeah, I mean, if that's the case, then if it starts hitting massive populated cities, you could see Mexico City next. In which case, that means it's moving up our ass right here.
for some reason, it hasn't hit South America. It hasn't. I mean, I think there was one case in Mexico, maybe.
Right.
I think that. I mean, that was early on. I haven't heard shit from that since then. But there's no reported cases in Africa so far. If everyone's taking malaria drugs and anti-Ebola drugs, they're immune from coronavirus.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. Yeah, I know. I mean, nature will fight back eventually. Nature will fight back, and I think we've been suppressing nature for long enough with our antibiotics and natural disasters. We pretty much, that's about the only thing that we can't really impact ourselves for. But even then, I mean, we're pretty good about being able to build structures around fault zones or build buildings that aren't gonna somehow mysteriously collapse like the 9/11 Twin Towers in a single unified way.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, that was weird. That could have been the beginning, though, man. Right.
Right. Right.
I mean, how much money was all of a sudden missing from the Pentagon?
Yeah, there was
Wasn't
a lot,
it like trillions of dollars.
There was a lot of.
Yeah, just a day prior, a day prior.
And that one building that was like, didn't seem to have any sort of shrapnel from the crash, just automatically collapsed too, that had all of the financial documents of everything. That's so weird. Who knows, man? Yeah, I don't know. I mean,
I don't speculate too much. I mean,
right.
I kind of go here and there, like when it comes to that kind of stuff. I mean, but really, like when it comes to like conspiracy related things, like the only thing I can go by is like my own experiences.
For sure. But it's always like like we're having this conversation now. It's always good to have an open mind and be open to possibilities that are not mainstream and to possible, even absurd alternative possibilities, because sometimes they are true and it's worth considering. I mean.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of like thinking outside the box. I mean, I think the idea of like calling somebody a conspiracy theorist is kind of like a way to downplay. I'm not saying that like, I mean, some of the shit's just batshit crazy, right? Like flat Earth and whatever. But sometimes, every once in a while, it's real. I mean, like we were talking about UFOs, right? Like for the longest time, people would put you down, and consider that conspiracy, and then all of a sudden that's the truth, or at least some of the truth, right?
For sure. No, you're right. But back in the 80s or 70s, even, like if you talk about UFOs, you're fucking crazy, right? I mean, you're crazy. Yeah. Bob Lazar helped break that open, and then now since the 2000s and like the Disclosure Project and stuff like that. And it's another weird thing is you notice the huge influx since the 2000s of alien movies. Like Men in Black, all that shit. I mean, it's just like one after the other. Sci-fi is all about aliens, and it's almost like I kind of believe it's a conditioning. I believe it's an intentional conditioning to the public, condition people to accept already that there are aliens and other lives outside of us, and then before the real disclosure comes. So we'll have a couple generations of Hollywood doing alien shit. Right, so that babies are indoctrinated into know they have little stuffed animals that are aliens, right? We're indoctrinated into it at birth, and now it's going to be no big deal anymore. I think that's what's going on, but I don't know. Hopefully, it happens in our lifetime, Joe. I mean,
I hope so too. I mean, in a way, and I hope not either. I just know that I'm probably going to be someone to be there for people who didn't accept this reality,
Yeah.
because it's been a part of my reality for a long time. So I'm gonna be like, hey, it's okay. You know,
As you slap in the head and be like, "I told you
I don't
so."
mean to tell you I told you so,
Right? I
but
told you so, motherfucker.
yeah.
Yeah, we'll see, man. I hope it happens in our lifetime, man. Because I've been a believer for a long time now, and I want to see it. I want to see like fucking unrefutable evidence. I want to see a UFO land on the fucking White House lawn. You know what I mean? Or something to
That'd
that
be
effect.
great.
Yeah, man. Absolutely. Or somebody like usher an alien into the fucking newsroom. And be like, look, and the guy's like,
Yeah,
what's up? Yeah.
yeah, I know. And you just gotta sort through all the fucking bullshit. I mean, there's so much fucking bullshit with this stuff, right? Like when people start talking about the culture of these fucking things without having any sort of um, you know, underlying theories about, like, I mean, I'm more interested in the technology and like in seeing a piece of technology than I am about like what a reptoid wipes his butt with,
Right.
you know, and like who, I think there's always someone pointing to somebody else or something, right, to represent things that other people seem like out of control or unfair, right? Like you blame why the evil of politics or the geopolitics of the world on the control of shape shifting albino lizard bitches, right?
Yeah, for
You know what
sure.
I'm
Yeah,
saying?
absolutely.
I mean, I'm sure there are people that have probably seen. I've never had any sort of experience with that at all. You know.
Right on, Joe, man. I'm gonna wrap this up, man, because we're pushing about an hour now. So
Really?
yeah,
Already?
yeah, it's been about
Jesus.
yeah.
All right. All right. Well, it was good to talk to you for a little bit on random
Yeah, absolutely,
random
man.
stuff.
Absolutely. Oh, oops, shit.